This video is brought to you by Factor, the best online delivery food service. Make it for the easiest and best meals possible for you. It's the most convenient plan there is out there, where they send you quality, healthy food pre-prepared. All you have to do is really put it in the oven or the microwave and get right to eating. And they have so many different meals, from a choice chef, or you can go vegan, calorie smart, keto. We know a lot of people in this community are on keto diets. They have it all for you, man. And it's literally all you need. You never have to go to the grocery store ever again. You don't have to get fast food or any of that stuff. Factor has better tasting and better quality food than anywhere else you can go. And they are the best after a good workout. When you come from boxing training or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or whatever it is, the meals from Factor are ready for you to go. You don't have to make them, prepare them, anything. They're right there for you to eat, and you go on with your day. Just click the link in the description below, or just head to factor75.com/theweasel130, where you can use the promo code theweasel130 to get $130 off across 6 boxes. You have to head to Factor. I cannot recommend them enough. I've been on this plan for a while, and I can tell you I feel better than ever before. These diet plans are really worth it. What's up, guys? UFC 283 just wrapped up, and the card was much better than we expected. We had the changing of a guard in that main event, where Jamahal defeated Glover Teixeira, cleaned out 5 rounds. We also had Ihor Petieira defeating Shogun in the first round. Jailton and Almeida dominating Shamil. We also had the closeout of a historic rivalry where Brandon Moreno defeated Deiveson and Figueiredo in their 4th fight to claim superiority. We had dominant performance like Gilbert defeating Magny. Jessica Andrade looked amazing against Lauren Murphy. Johnny Walker blasted out Paul Craig. We had a massive upset where Ferreira knocked out the seemingly unstoppable Gregory Rodrigues in the very first round, knocked him out cold. We had 2 brothers on the same card get fantastic finishes, the Bonfim brothers, and we had 2 legends retire, Glover Teixeira and Shogun, who have both retired tonight, who try to give us a show every step of the way. And we're going to start with that main event. Jamahal defeats Glover Teixeira by 50-44 on all scorecards. One round was a 10-8. Just for the fight itself, there wasn't too much to really say. Jamahal showed impeccable takedown defense. He defended something like 16 or 17 takedowns. Crazy, man. And that's something we haven't really seen from him before. His grappling has always been somewhat unknown, except when you stem it from the Paul Craig fight, and we saw what happened there. Paul Craig went to work on Jamahal when it went to the ground, but Hill got a lot better, man. He got so much better to be able to scramble Teixeira, reversing the position twice, and forcing the fight in the stand-up where Teixeira just could not get it to the ground. And we just saw Glover taking down Yuri Prochazka many times in their fight, taking down Jan Blachowicz, Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos. Glover's wrestling has been looking really hard to defend against, and Jamahal shut almost the whole thing down. He has a quick ability to take his hips away from the opponent, even when he throws punches, which is very unusual. There would be times where he would extend with his right hand, Glover would time it perfectly, get under for the takedown, and Hill's hips are already away from Glover. One of the takedowns Glover had against Hill was just pretty much muscling him to the ground. He tried everything he could to get the fight down there, because on the feet, he has some success. He was swinging a lot of right, straight, left hook combinations, and sometimes it would land, but Jamahal was so precise with almost everything he threw. And a lot of people question, why wasn't Glover able to defend the head kicks when they kept coming at him? Hill landed like 5 clean head kicks on Glover and rocked him multiple times. And Glover kept blocking with one arm and leaning into the kick at the same time. This isn't purely off the fact that Glover doesn't know how to defend head kicks. You have to give credit to Jamahal setting that up, because what did he do right in the beginning of the fight? He was throwing body kicks. He threw a lot of teeps to the body, round body kicks as well, and this ultimately conditioned Glover to fall into some of those high kicks later. And what happened when Glover started to defend some of them, Hill went back to the body. It was very intelligent work from Hill, and he was really able to let his hands go once he hurt Glover with the kicks. And you definitely saw that some of the hooks and the straights were glancing off Glover's shoulders, but he could barely get away from those uppercuts. It's always been one of his biggest weaknesses, and Hill showed it as well. I still don't understand how Glover was able to take all those shots. We've seen the guy get knocked out before, and this was years ago, before taking all this extra damage. He's right, man. Just like he said after the fight, he's too tough for his own good. Most fighters would have been out of there, because Jamahal can crack, man. The guy can hit hard. And Glover at 43 years old was taking everything on the chin. One of the toughest guys we've ever seen, man. And he's had a long career, man. I'm happy for his retirement. He says he's going to be focusing on coaching Alex Pereira. And there is even a possibility that Alex Pereira might come up to 205 and may want to get revenge against Jamahal Hill. That can absolutely happen. Thank you, Glover, for an amazing career. I've been watching this guy ever since he came into the UFC. I remember when he knocked out Ryan Bader on the back foot. I remember the beating he put on Fabio Maldonado, which was, still goes to this day, one of the biggest beatdowns in UFC history. His win over Quinton Jackson was definitely a turnover for his career. And then the times where everybody doubted him, right? After getting knocked out by Rumble and Gustafsson, nobody thought he would ever win the belt. We just merely look at the odds of his fights. The guy's barely been a favorite in his fights. The last time he was a favorite was when he fought Nikita Krylov back in 2019. He was an underdog in every single one of these fights. He was even an underdog against Ian Cutelaba and Carl Robertson before he fought Nikita Krylov. That's the lack of belief people had in Glover. And for him to eventually get on that long win streak and get that belt against Jan Blachowicz, where most people thought was the best fighter in the division, he truly had a rocky story. Not only at the end of his career, but even the beginning of his UFC career where he had the visa issues and people were thinking he was too old to get into the organization. Just a fantastic career from Glover Teixeira, very memorable. And as for Jamahal Hill, I am looking forward to this guy, man. The crazy thing about him is he only has 14 professional fights. The change of the guard, and it's in good hands. He's going to have a lot of tough fights, man. Yuri Prochazka is going to be coming back. Jan Blachowicz, Magomed Ankalaev, Alexander Rakic's return. There's a ton of tough matchups for Jamahal Hill, man. I'm very curious how those fights turn out because he's shown to be smarter in every single one of his fights. His fight IQ is definitely showing. He's definitely dangerous with his striking. If he could shut down everybody else's takedowns, a lot of guys are going to be in trouble. So who should Jamahal Hill fight next? I think he should fight Magomed Ankalaev, because at this point, there is no other number one contender, unless it's Jan Blachowicz, right? It's either Jan or Magomed. I don't see anybody else fighting Hill right now. And then we go to the co-main event where Brandon Moreno defeated Deiveson Figueiredo by a third round doctor stoppage due to an eye injury that, remember, Moreno caused. Moreno hit him with that left hook, and he was throwing that left hook the entire fight. Left hook was actually constantly going to the eye. So I don't know if it was on purpose, I don't know if it was like coincidence or whatever, but he was hitting the same area multiple times in that fight. And then came the right overhands. It's really all he had for his offense. Right overhands, left hooks, that was enough to beat Deiveson Figueiredo. And defensively, he seemed to be so much sharper with the change of his stance and everything like that. Like I said in my breakdown, man, Deiveson did not change at all. He looks like the exact same guy. And at this stage of the game, you have to be constantly evolving. And I have a feeling it's because of his weight cuts. I have a feeling he puts so much time and effort and focus on his weight cuts that he doesn't have as much time to actually get better technically. I don't know what's going on in between fights. I don't know what's going on outside of training camp, but he's definitely not looking different from his fights. And hopefully that will be different when he goes up to bantamweight, because that is his next move. He said it before the fight and he said it after the fight. He's done with flyweight. And I don't blame him. He should have been done with flyweight a long time ago. Those weight cuts can take years out of you, man. And I'm very curious to see how he goes and performs without having to kill himself to go to a weight class. So who these two should be fighting next? Brandon Moreno has to fight Pantoja. I believe Pantoja is the rightful next contender. And as for Figueiredo, there's multiple guys he can fight. The guy I would love to see him fight the most is Chito, win or lose against Corey. But it depends who's going to get the next title shot after Henry Cejudo. Because Sterling is injured, I believe. So Figueiredo has a lot of options when he makes his way to 135, but he's going to have to take some time off because of that eye injury. So by the time he makes it up there, there's going to be plenty of opponents open. And then we go to Gilbert Burns running right through Neil Magny. This fight was so easy, just like we all expected. It should have been someone else. No offense to Neil Magny, nothing against him, but Gilbert should not be fighting guys on that level. He should be fighting Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal maybe, Shavkat Rakhmonov, maybe a rematch with Hamza, Bilal Muhammad. These are the guys that Gilbert should have been in there with. All he did was he threw a right straight into a body lock and just tripped out Neil Magny so easily. He had athletic passes. He was really trying to jump over Neil Magny's legs, and Magny's a pretty long guy, so it was impressive to see Burns do it. He wasn't trying to slice through as smoothly as guys like Damian Maia did. He was really trying to explode his way into positions. He got side control twice on opposite sides, he got into full mount, and went straight for the arm triangle and got it very easily with barely any resistance. And this doesn't change anything about Gilbert Burns' future unless fighters are going to keep ducking him. He put a lot of fighters on blast before this fight for ducking him, and hopefully they don't do that again. I'd like to see him fight Bilal Muhammad or the winner of Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Jeff Neal. I think those are the only two fights that really make sense for Burns right now. And as for Neil Magny, I like to see him fight Michelle Pereira. And then we go to Jessica Andrade just running right through Lauren Murphy, putting the hands on her the whole fight. Murphy also showed to be extremely tough, even in the third round after taking so much of a beating, trading punches with Andrade. Who does that? The last person who tried to do that with her got knocked out, Carolina. but Murphy made her way through the entire 3-round fight. She was hurt multiple times, but man, that was definitely the mismatch that the odds dictated that it would be. And Lauren Murphy is one of the top contenders of the flyweight division, which really tells you how shallow the division actually is. Andrade is a great fighter, right? One of the greatest female fighters of all time. She's able to fight in flyweight and strawweight and be at the top of both divisions, even though she is the smaller fighter in the flyweight fights. But not much technique in this fight. Andrade doing what she always does, marches you down with great power, crazy cardio to go with it, which I still don't understand how that's possible. How does she have that much power, that much strength, and never gas out? And it's not like she's not throwing punches. She has an insane amount of output. She's throwing so many punches in a fight and she never slows down, even for 5 rounds. I don't understand that at all. She says her experience on the farm? Maybe. Coaches gotta send their fighters to farms or something, because that doesn't make any sense. She's like Usman, right? Usman could do the same thing. Crazy power, crazy strong, and doesn't gas out. But everybody has suspicions of Usman. Do you have the same suspicions of Andrade? But yeah, just ducking into left hooks, right straights, right hooks, left hooks, constantly exchanging haymakers. Andrade is awesome to watch, man. And I don't know what she's going to do next, because she keeps bouncing between strawweight and flyweight. And she's in a great position because she's so much better than the majority of the fighters in both weight classes. And not only that, she is getting slightly better, right? She's not plateauing completely, even as experienced as she is. Because here's the issue of the flyweight division. She's number 6, which is crazy, because she defeated Caitlin Chukagian pretty easily, who was number 3. Maybe you could do Jessica Andrade versus Taila Santos. I think that makes sense. Or you do her versus Manon Fiorot. But if she wants to go back down to strawweight, the crazy thing is she has the win over the number 3 Amanda Lemos, who's above her, right? Andrade is number 4, Lemos is number 3, but Andrade just defeated her not too long ago. So I don't know why they keep lowering Andrade in the rankings, especially at flyweight. She lost once at flyweight, but she's number 6, and she beat the number 3 Caitlin Chukagian. She should realistically be like number 3 at strawweight, so she could maybe fight Marina Rodriguez at strawweight. It really just depends on what weight class she wants to go to. And as for Lauren Murphy, she's fought a lot of fighters in this weight class, man. I like to see her fight Viviane Araújo. I think that fight makes a lot of sense. And then we go to Johnny Walker, getting a Johnny Walker kind of knockout against Paul Craig while his leg is up in the air. Paul Craig had a hold of Johnny Walker's leg, and Walker's blasting him in the face while it's happening. Craig falls to the ground from the concussive blows, and Walker elbows him and starts hammer fisting him into a finish. You gotta love guys like Johnny Walker, man. You get performances that you'll never see on anybody else. The guy is so freakishly athletic. Imagine if you gave him like Dominic Cruz's brain, you know? And maybe if you give him like Glover Teixeira's chin that he showed tonight. Nobody would ever beat him. I never like seeing Paul Craig lose, man. I really like the guy, man. He was a teacher and everything. Imagine seeing your teacher get beat down on live TV. But yeah, nothing really else much to say about this fight. So that was Walker number 12 defeating Paul Craig number 9, which means that Walker would be in the top 10 now. And I wouldn't mind seeing him fight. Oh, that's crazy. Jamahal Hill was number 7, and now he's the champion. So the rankings are really going to shake up after tonight. And Glover's going to be out of the rankings. So that means Johnny Walker might be like number 8 next. So he's making his way back up. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Anthony Smith. I think that fight makes a lot of sense. And it would be a very entertaining fight. Anthony Smith is dangerous on the feet. He could be dangerous on the ground as well. But Walker has that unpredictability and can knock you out with any of his limbs at any angle, with any stance or balance or whatever is going on. The guy's always there to knock you out. As for Paul Craig, give him Dominic Reyes. Ihor Petieira ran right through Shogun. Shogun's way too old. I know he wanted one last fight in Brazil, but that was a beating, man. He didn't know where Ihor was when he was getting hit. Constantly like turning his back to him and stuff. And I don't know what was with the celebration. I mean, Ihor did not win any fans with that. He was like taunting Shogun and stuff. What are you really doing? I don't understand that. This was a fight you were supposed to win. This will be a way for you to put Shogun's name on your record and put eyes on you. But if you want to be the villain that bad, I guess, whatever. But he should be consistent. Every fight, we're going to be expecting him to do something like that. Be the villain and be hated, I guess. It was disrespectful. It was very distasteful. I understand doing that kind of stuff before a fight. But after, Shogun's so old, man. I don't know anybody who feels so proud that they knocked out a 40-year-old Shogun Rua. The Brunno Ferreira knockout against Gregory Rodrigues is wild. Now, I can't say I didn't expect it because, as I mentioned, these two guys throw heat, man. They're going to be slinging at each other like that, and someone's going to fall. But I thought Rodrigues would be the more powerful guy that would land first. He did not see Ferreira's left straight at all. Ferreira was throwing a lot of feints forward, giving different kind of looks, and even moved laterally before he did it, and just blitzed them down with that left straight. And Rodrigues went out from one punch. That is insane, man. Look at the kind of wars that Rodrigues was a part of. And to think that he would get knocked out by one punch like that. is incredible. I mean, Ferreira was like almost a 3-1 underdog. It was a quick fight, first round finish, and it still boggles my mind that they're the same age. Yeah, Rodrigues and Ferreira are both 30 years old when Rodrigues looks like he could be Ferreira's dad. I did miss a Thiago Moises fight. I do have to go back and watch this. I definitely watched Gabriel Bonfim getting that 49-second guillotine on Mounir Lazzez. He came out a little bit too excited. He was throwing a lot of big punches, being a bit too wild after witnessing what his brother did to Terrance McKinney. And he is the younger brother. He's the bigger brother, but he's the younger brother. He was not controlling himself. And we saw some big leg kicks from Lazzez, catching Bonfim early. And I wonder if that's always going to be a bit of a weakness for him because he comes from a boxing background. He was a professional boxer. Inside leg kicks, outside leg kicks. He wasn't really defending them. Strangely enough, Lazzez shot in a double leg, I think out of panic. He wasn't really getting hit like that, but he shot the takedown, maybe because of the amount of power that Bonfim was throwing at him, and he just instinctively reacted with a double leg, got wrapped up quickly by that guillotine. And even though Bonfim has a boxing background, he has like 10 or 11 submissions out of his 14 wins in MMA. I'm really high on these Bonfim brothers, man. Jailton Almeida just destroyed Shamil. He was just better everywhere, on the feet, on the ground. He was way too athletic, way too fast. Shamil looked like he was just trying to survive the whole time. Almeida's grappling is something that is pretty scary for the heavyweight division, though. Then with Ismael Bonfim knocking Terrance McKinney out cold. That is something I did not expect at all. His hands are not as sharp as his younger brother, but man, does he throw a lot of stuff at you. Overhands were coming, left hooks, and then eventually that flying knee after knocking McKinney's mouthpiece out. And I wonder how much damage that actually did because McKinney ate a knee to the jaw without a mouth guard. There was definitely time for the ref to get in there and give him his mouthpiece. There was a bit of separation there, and the ref could have gotten there quickly. Maybe the spirit of Mario Yamasaki possessed that ref and just wanted McKinney to fight it out like a warrior. Man, that was wild. Flying knee knocks McKinney out cold, and he fell face first. Another thing is, McKinney did not react well to the punches. I mean, he was getting hit and like almost turning away. And I do have to catch up on the rest of the fights, so it was a magnificent card. I loved it. Great finishes throughout, great performances, an historic night. And leave in the comments below, what did you guys think about the card? And what really stood out for you? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe.